Heads-up poker, the ultimate form of hand-to-hand combat. And Tom Dwan has stupendously put his money where his mouth is. Sammy George has braved the same here at the Les Ambassadeurs Casino in London. This is the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge. There can be only one champion.
Welcome to the Les Ambassadeurs Casino in the heart of Mayfair, London. Standing on the location of one of King Henry VIII's hunting lodges, this site has had a prolific history attracting the rich and famous over the centuries. Now it is the setting for one of the biggest poker games. Tom Dwan, poker sensation, has issued a challenge. Anyone who dares can play him head-to-head in a cash game worth $1 million. Those who are stepping up to the plate include Londoner Sammy George, Italian high-stakes player Marcello, and Finnish pro Ziigmund. Can Durrrr prove he is one of the world's greatest poker players?
Playing high-stakes poker is definitely stressful for me, just like it is for anyone else. You need to be confident in your game. You need to be able to bluff and lose a big pot or make a big call and be wrong and just move on to the next hand and get over it. And if you can't do that, then high-stakes poker is probably not for you.
The first player to take this heads-up challenge is Sammy E03 George. At the start of play, it was non-stop chat between these two close friends.
I can't believe I'm playing Tom Dwan.
I think it'd be an awesome, awesome game.
I'm sure your body looks nicer naked than mine.
All right.
But the game turned sour for E03 when Durrrr went all in with aces and Sammy called with ace-king.
Come on.
Cool.
You gotta feel for Sammy.
Oh.
There's nothing you can do.
Oh, horrible.
Sammy was forced to rebuy and his confidence seemed to wane. In one extraordinary hand, he could have won over $300,000. But Durrrr went all in on a bluff and Sammy folded.
Come on.
No.
Wow! That is a gigantic bet.
This is serious. Oh, you can't fold, Sammy.
What a bluff.
I'm sorry to leave the show.
This spot go down in the history of TV poker. This was just incredible.
Now, Tom Dwan has an enormous stack, and Sammy is faced with the arduous task to win his money back. Is it too late for E03?
Fortunately, Sammy didn't make the hero call there, which would have been an absurd call. And lucky for me, he didn't make it, but he really, really thought about it. I was pretty worried for a while there, but it worked out.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is my hometown, you know, this is our country, this is our town, this is our place. And Tom's a most welcome guest here. But he, you know, so everyone wants me to win it for the flag and for the country and also for poker in the UK. But, you know, like I say, I can only do what I can do. And unfortunately, if the cards come his way, they come his way. If they come mine, they come mine. What happens in between them is up to me and him.
I'll be joined for analysis throughout this match, and thrilled, by the way, to be with the sharpest minds in British poker, Roland Wolfe and Neil Channing. Guys, there is a bit of home court advantage for Sammy here. I mean, this is almost like his office.
Yeah, Sammy's a regular in Les Ambassadeurs in the games that they play here. He's a popular figure around the casino with the poker room's named the E03 Poker Room. I mean, what more endorsement could you want? He's definitely at home and will feel much more comfortable here than playing in a Las Vegas casino where Tom might have had home court advantage.
Yeah, the guys get together and play here a few times every week, and Sammy's a regular in attendance here. Most of the other people that play here have stopped by to say hi. I was worried a bit that Sammy was going to get distracted by all this kind of stuff. What do you think, Roland? Do you think he needs to concentrate on the game and stop jabbering with the rail?
Well, I told him he should put his phone away. He shouldn't have it in there. He's texting. He says it helps him relax, but you know, he's. I think they're sending messages to each other during the game. Sammy even told me, you know,
Him and Tom.
Playing banter, but it's not good to have all these distractions, and it might be nice to have supporters there, and that helps him focus, helps him play well. Means he doesn't want to lose, which is very important to Sam. That's good, you know. Pressure is good for him. What isn't good is the distraction. But as long as he keeps focused on the poker and is not too joking around, then it can help him.
Well, they've played over 300 hands in this match. The trend so far, although there's $1 million in play on the table, 750,000 of it is Sammy's. He's stuck about $400,000. Durrrr has been more aggressive and been raising more from the button. Other than that, Sammy's held his own, but not in the big pots. I'm joined throughout this match by high-stakes player Isaac Haxton. And Isaac, I mean, that big hand with the big bluff, everything is going to come from it now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible pot that will go down in the history of TV poker. Just an incredible hand.
But if you're Sammy right now, even though they've got 300 hands or so of history between them, there's just nothing else on his mind but that deuce 7.
Yeah, it really rattles you to lose a big pot like that and then have the guy show you the bluff. Earlier they agreed to play the 7-deuce game, which is sort of a side bet that players sometimes agree to in a live cash game, where if any player wins a pot with 7-deuce, the worst hand in Hold'em, the other player will pay them some bounty. Tom's got to show him the 7-deuce and collect the $10,000 bounty. It's going to be hard for Sammy to get that out of his mind.
Is it time to take a break?
Well, I don't know if this format really allows Sammy to take a break. They're trying to get their 500 hands done today. So he's kind of got to buckle down and try to concentrate, try to get through it.
This pot raised before the flop. I think a raise and a re-raise, was it? And the lead out by
so, yeah, there's 56K in there now, so.
Check.
Sammy's got the best hand. Is that 4 on the turn is sort of saved Durrrr from having to bluff it.
Yeah, it could have had him stuck calling a bet on the end there if Sammy had gone for it.
No,
I think
it wasn't my son. I'm still tilty. Leave me
very
alone.
likely should have.
You didn't lose that much in the pot.
Yeah, I did, man.
Like 70,000.
Yeah.
And you just made back like 35,000.
No, I never.
Just now.
How?
Or 28,000, sorry. 28,000.
That is the thing. Sammy did only lose 80,000 in that pot, but it
look
feels
at
like he lost over
you
half
could
a
have
million.
enough flush.
Yeah,
You can have
exactly.
had
He's not thinking
sorry.
about his
No,
stack
I think you're
versus
full
where it was
You could
before
have
the
had
hand
a set.
started.
You
He's
know, you
thinking
could
about
have
his
had-
stack versus where it would be if he'd called.
And
You know,
in your
I'm gonna call.
experience, Sammy now looking a bit rattled, feeling a bit rattled, how is he going to change his game? How should Durrrr be adjusting because of that?
You know, but
I think Sammy is.
I just think
If I had to guess, I'd
I
say
just think it's
his confidence is a little shot. He's going to
disgusting.
be
7
almost
effing
certainly
deuce.
less willing to bluff, less willing to
1,000?
really make any sort of
7
big
deuce.
play that relies on.
Wait, do you want to give it to him as well?
Yes.
You only lost
Less
70,000 in the
willing to
pot.
make a big fold or a big call
only lost
down. I think
70,000
he's
in the
going to be
pot.
playing a little more mechanically, a little more
That was my
conservatively.
comeback money.
That would have been more than a comeback. You'd have been up like 150.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. It was such an amazing, and I mean, Durrrr during that pot, he put that big bet in, and his composure
3.
was pretty
3,000.
amazing, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like most people would have really started to shake at some point during when
Oh,
Sammy
yeah.
was putting them in the tank.
I mean, Durrrr has played some of the biggest pots in the history of online poker, some of the biggest pots in the history of poker, but even for him, that was a big pot. Bet 350K on the end. If he'd been called, it would have been over an $800,000 pot.
17,000? Fold.
And
I'll bluff you again.
the rich get richer, flopping the full house.
You mean the absolute nuts, huh? No, I lost more. What are you talking about, man?
6,000. Oh, you raised the flop. Okay, so 33,000. And then what did I bet on the turn?
It's like 120K.
46,000.
He's ahead 400K.
Yeah, if I somehow could have just paid like 10,000 to make sure no one said a word, I would have done it very happily.
Raise up to 3,000? Call.
He didn't want to show that. And
No, he didn't. You know, if there hadn't been TV cameras there, he might have eaten the $10,000 loss and just kept the cards face down.
Check.
You're right.
Check. 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 Check.
This one of those pots. Durrrr has been winning most of these sort of pots.
Absolutely.
Check.
And looks like he's going to win it again.
Nuts. Absolute nuts.
Only 6,000 in there, but you know, have there been 20 hands like this
Absolute
over
nuts.
the course of the match?
At least, yeah. Adds up pretty quickly.
Don't even know who that guy was. We may go Omaha soon, buddy.
Omaha, we can play trips on the hand.
We could play what?
If you win with trips on the hand. you
Shut
get-
up, no. It's impossible to get, but like, not
Is
really
that
impossible, but
3,000?
Well, now the rules
I think
of
that
this
one's better than
challenge
7
are
deuce.
that if the challenger
win with
wants
trips
to
on the hand
change
one.
the game to Omaha, he can at any time.
Right.
But the fact is that Sammy has not played much Omaha, and a lot of people think that
5,000.
maybe it's even Durr's best game.
Yeah, I would agree on both
I
those
like the way
points.
you call.
Definitely not for the faint of
Check.
heart, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be 500 1K blinds anyhow. They're effectively playing a much bigger game if they switch to Omaha.
Check.
I don't like the way you bet.
27,000.
I like this. I'm happy
Cool.
to see Sammy making a big bluff on the end.
Mainly just because
I've been observing over the course of this whole match that Durrr is not paying off
Mainly
those
because
river
what?
bets.
I said I don't like the way you bet, and then I said mainly just because you bet. I feel like it's better if you bet like this.
You're
You like it like
absolutely
this,
right.
huh?
In fact,
In
This
that-
you like.
In that spot, that was
Yeah.
a good
I
bet.
kind of feel like if Sammy just started to bet every river,
Maybe 1,000.
it might
I
be a
could've
little
dealt with
while
1,000.
before that didn't show an
You could
automatic
have done with
profit.
1,000.
Nothing more though.
Yeah, I agree.
And a big hand for a crowd. A big hand for 1,000.
Total aggression there. You were saying earlier, it helps to be more aggressive, but it's not always the most important thing.
Absolutely. Under the right circumstances, taking a more passive approach,
Guys,
letting
that's
your opponent
3,000.
hang himself can be the better route.
In fact, I mean, over the course of this Durrr challenge,
Man, everyone
Durrr,
just wants to hero call me lately.
he
I
plays
don't want to hero call you.
you know, so many of these
I was
opponents.
justified.
Might not.
That's
It might
pretty
be that
heroic.
actually Durrr is
Oh,
not
it's
the
not
most
heroic,
aggressive
dude.
players in some of these
Two
matches.
pair on that board
Yeah,
for
I
3
wouldn't
times
be
the pot,
surprised to
that's
see
pretty
that at all.
heroic.
When he and I have played, I've been the more
That's like,
aggressive player.
they'd make a statue.
Yeah, man, you're a friend. You're a friend of mine, man. I'm gonna
Check.
hero call you for
Check.
what you call it to make you look like. Say, yeah, I hero called Tom Dwan. It was a massive
Check.
like thing.
4.
Yeah. Out of 5.
I just mean a bunch of people have thought really long
Check back.
and folded in
No, but-
spots where I expected them to fold fast. Where, like, I mean, that one.
No,
I don't know, I thought you
bro.
just-
I've got aces up. I've got
How can
aces
you
up.
call?
What do you mean, how do I call?
How can you call?
How come I can call if I put you on air, or I can call if I put you on an ace something?
I can never have an ace.
Well, how can you never have an ace?
I don't go all in with an ace there. I just
When
check
the
and
board
expect to
pairs?
win. I'd never go all in with an ace.
Yeah? Do you understand?
But I'd never have an ace there. Ever.
But I'm saying
I
to
just
you-
bet like
But
95,000 with it.
what I'm trying to say to you is if I've got it in my head like that, then my aces sixes is better than yours. So I'm thinking if I become stupid that way and think that way, then you put it this way: if this was me like time ago, you would have been called instantly.
Right.
Instantly.
No, I know that.
Check. Instantly, bro.
But I was betting that it's
5,000.
new Sammy who plays good.
You would have been called like the minute you went all in, I would have been like, I call. What have you got? You know?
Sammy's
But the
only
more
been
I
playing
think
for a
about
couple
stuff-
years, and a couple years ago he might have said, "I've got 2
The
pair, I
more-
call."
I think
Not
it
really
folds
thought much
good.
more about it.
I mean, it was bad that time, but I
Sometimes
think it's
knowledge
good
is a
usually.
dangerous thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
3,000.
But
it's pretty hard to bluff a
3,000.
clueless guy.
11.
11,000.
I do wonder, and I guess we'll
Oh.
probably never know exactly what Durrr was thinking when he went all in. I mean, you know, on some level, was it a bit like, well, I've gotten myself into this, there's only one way out? Or,
Yeah, I mean,
Check.
Check.
That's a familiar thought to somebody who's played a lot of heads up. Well, there's an awful lot in the middle there, and I play the board, so there's only one way to win this spot.
Yep. 22,000. It was a re-raise by Sammy from the big blind, and they've checked since then.
And that should lock it up for Sammy. I don't see how we can lose
10K.
this now.
10,000. Fold.
And you can see how delicately Durrrr folded his cards. That's kind of the way he's played since the big pot. So far, Sammy George has lost an enormous amount of money in this cash game, but he remains calm and composed in the face of defeat.
A very good friend of mine, let him rest in peace. You know, he passed away 3 years ago. Just before he died, we had a little heart-to-heart, and he said to me, the most important thing you need to know about life and about this world we live in, it's not about how much you take from the world that you're in or from the other people that you're around, but it's how much it's how much not only that you give, it's how you carry yourself. You know, when you want to be a pro and you know you can't really get angry and show emotion. That's what it's about. I mean, a lot of people say you're going on tilt. You know, you can go on tilt about life. You could do a very bad business deal and lose money, and that'll tilt you completely. You know, but when you're in poker, a lot of things get me angry. You know, people saying stupid things, or you know, but you try and hold it down. You know, you try and really hold it down. I get angry at myself a lot, a majority of the time. Like you'll see me rolling my eyes and you know, I go really red because I'm inside. I'm actually shooting myself for being such an idiot to make that play, you know, when I should know better.
It isn't over for Sammy NE2. He may be $500,000 down, but with plenty more action to come, there is still a chance for him to beat the mighty Tom Dwan.
There's so many more hours to come, bro.
That's so sick.
This is driving me crazy.
Welcome back to the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge. Isaac Haxton joining me in the commentary box, and Tom Dwan. Is he moving in for the kill?
Last year, no.
Well, we haven't really seen him trying to play a big pot since that.
You saw me this year.
Huge one with the 7-2.
That's what I mean.
Oh, this year, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Remember when I first saw you? You just came out of the
players are usually pretty willing to let the cards drive the
hi.
action, not force
I'm
something,
saying,
just because
it
seems like a good time to go for it.
I'm playing you for
Just
some
kind of
money.
let everything settle down. You don't.
And then remember we were in Excess? I met you in Eric in Excess. We did a tequila shot. We did a shot of Patron together.
Oh yeah! Wow! Oh wow!
Yeah.
That was a.
Do you remember?
That was a wow! I
Crazy
was drunk
night,
that
huh?
night.
Raise.
Oh my god!
You were like off your nuts, man. You were like. It was like.
Well, because other people were there, maybe Ilari or someone.
No.
There were multiple people there I hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So I was already pretty drunk, and then I saw you, and I was like, you know what? I can handle one more tequila shot.
There was a lot of people there.
But then after seeing you and doing one more tequila shot, like with you, I was like, I can deal with one more. Then like 5 other people I hadn't seen in a year came up to me and were like, hey, let's do a shot.
David Williams brought me there.
Check.
It was terrible. I was so drunk. Yeah. Yeah, I barely remember that night, but now I really remember it. Yeah.
Sammy's flipped 2 pair here.
That was.
It was like a crazy evening.
5,000.
It was just one of those nights where you, for me, I'm saying, where I just kept running into everyone.
Oh no, listen, that night was mad. It was mad. We ended up.
Those are the nights you get the most drunk, because you're like, you hit some point and you're like, all right, I'm not drinking anymore.
Yeah.
And the only thing that can make you drink more is like, oh hey, I haven't seen you in a year.
Man,
and someone's like, have a drink with me. You're like, all right.
David brought me to you, and you're like, yo, dude, let's drink. Man, that effed me up. That tequila.
And it is.
Next thing you know, I'm stumbling into Dre's. You know.
Oh, it was
Like
Vegas.
with Dave.
Sounds like.
Absolutely off my
Dre's
nuts.
is the club that opens at 4 a.m.
Right.
What a game! What a night though. You were with Erica. You were smashed. You were completely smashed.
I think my cousin might have been there that night.
All I know is I saw Ziggy. And I saw a few of the boys there. It was.
I think my cousin was there that night.
It was mad. It was mad.
And I think one of the great things about sort of the poker world is, you know, competitors on the table, hard
Raised
competitors,
3,000
but
total.
social, they're very friendly.
Oh,
You
maybe
might
not.
lose $1
Actually,
million
we only went-
to a guy online or at
Oh,
the
no, yeah,
table.
maybe we went
We'll
to
have a
two
drink
clubs.
together.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
several, perhaps.
Often.
Check.
And I think it's a very important, you know, in that fraternity or in this fraternity, that's the way you get respect. It's not really by winning or losing, but it's by being able to take the wins and losses like a
Okay.
gentleman. Or
I would agree with that, yeah.
5,000.
You giving it to me?
No.
Well, you have the nuts.
Close enough.
Set.
No.
guessing the last 20 or 30 hands have basically
If you folded, I had the nuts.
all gone to the person
If you
with
called,
the best
I had the
hand, in a
nuts.
sense.
Yeah, it has seemed that way,
There
yeah.
was nothing I could do on that flop that would get any better. In any way, shape, or form, huh?
Oh no, the flop I had nothing. I
On
had,
the,
I had a 4.
me too.
The turn I had a queen and a 4.
Oh.
Interesting that Tom refuses to show his hand and then tells the truth about it anyhow.
Obviously, Sammy's stuck, you know, it's like 400 big blinds or so. Not
5,000.
too far to make a
Pass.
comeback with. I mean, I'm sure you've
No.
made comebacks 400
folded,
big
I had the
blinds or
nuts.
greter, right?
Absolutely.
I said if you folded,
It's
I
a
had
little
the
different
nuts.
online. when
Well,
you're
as long
playing
as you're
4 or
enjoying
6
yourself, that's
tables,
what we're here
but
for.
A 400 big blind swing is nothing too far
When's your
out of the
work day?
ordinary for a heads-up
She's
match.
not, she's too tired. She's,
Well,
really,
that's
she's
what
too
She's-
tired.
A medium win
Right.
When's
for
she expecting?
Sunday,
500
dude.
hand heads-up match.
You'll be here when the baby comes.
Oh wow, awesome,
You'll be able to come.
awesome.
Yeah.
These are enormous stakes, though.
They certainly are.
Do you know yet where we're on?
It's just crazy to be playing stakes
Go.
where $400,000 is a medium win.
Check.
Check, check, and probably time for Durrrr to
Check.
start betting?
I would think so. His hand is nearly the nuts at that point.
Why?
He checks it back again. I
Oh.
can only assume he's hoping Sammy will bluff at it on the river.
Check.
Now he
2,000.
has literally the nuts.
Yeah.
I don't even have, like, higher than a 9 that I can call.
You have the board?
Huh?
I said you have the board?
I have the board. You want to do the board?
That's good news for me.
Huh?
So that's good news
I
for
was
me.
going for the board.
Sometimes you do call when you're playing the
Full
board.
card.
Especially
thinking
for such
about
a
calling
small
with
bet,
just the
Tom
board?
has bet 2 into
Yeah.
6.
Best
And
you
if
could
Sammy
do is
calls
chop
the
then.
2
Yeah.
here, he profits
Got the
3
ace.
relative to folding.
Yeah.
If he's right,
Yeah.
he does chop. So
He's saying
it's
I've
definitely a
left or whatever.
consideration if he thinks Tom might
And
be bluffing. And
Don't worry,
likewise,
I'll
it's a
sort out that because I gave him
serious
something
consideration
before
for Tom to think
Oh,
about
it's
bluffing
just
there
him.
if he's playing
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah, yeah,
because,
yeah.
I said to him, don't be,
you know, he can
no,
check it back with a
stop,
chop.
stop. I
Get
told him, I said,
3,000, or he can bet 2,000
texted
and
him
have a
back
chance of
saying,
winning the whole 6.
don't be stupid.
No, when I told him I was
3,000
coming over here, he gave me cash for that.
No, I said, told him, don't be stupid. I even sent him a text, I said, don't be stupid, I don't want it. You know what I mean? No, I said, I don't want it, you know.
Raise and call.
He's not going to accept that, I'm sure.
Doesn't know what he accepts.
Diamonds for Tom.
5,000. Pass.
Just starting to crank it up a little bit.
On the draw, are we?
Only a little. He did flop a
I had
flush.
a queen with it.
I'm pretty good for
Yeah?
that.
Yeah, it's true.
No, I need to.
This sort of idea and maybe tournament poker that, you know, leading into the razor, this dunk bet, it's always a weak hand. It's not the same in heads up no limit cash, right?
No, it's really not. There are a lot of situations where, you know, the button's playing
Right,
looser than the big
3,000
blind, and
total.
in particular when the big blind
Right,
calls,
so
he's
11,000.
got a lot of medium sort of hands with a lot of cards, 7 through king or so in them. The board comes out with a couple of high cards on it. It's a situation that's already really favoring the guy who called out of the big blind. So
17,000.
it's really not the player who has shown less strength betting at that point. It's the player who's shown more strength betting when the big blind leads out on a flop like that.
New pot here. Durrrr with the tens, the 3-bet, the continuation. Sammy calling with second pair. It's turned into trips.
Tom's check here makes a lot of sense. He's not in good shape. He can only really beat a draw that would have called on the flop.
37,000.
I'd expect to see a fold from Tom here. So often Sammy will have either the queen or the trip nines.
And although there are times when he does have the straight draw or the flush draw here, he hasn't been playing like that so much, Sammy, has he? He's been checking that back
a lot with a draw in that spot. Yeah, I don't know quite why Tom is calling here.
That sort of like puts the exclamation point on if you weren't beat, you are now.
Yeah. Yeah, Sammy doesn't even bet his trips. Which seems a little weak to me. I mean, really, when Tom check calls the turn, how often does he have the flush there?
Wrong color card at the end.
And it was, as you said, it was an interesting call. I mean, it was about 37,000 on the turn there. That's been a nice little pot for Sammy.
Yeah, it was around 3/4 pot or so.
Yeah. No, not
Both Durrrr and Sammy NE2 share a passion for winning money. They enjoy the exhilaration and excitement from the gamble, and it doesn't stop at the poker table.
My life is a mix of a lot of different things, and I'll travel a lot of different cities, different groups of friends, different activities I'm doing a lot.
I'm always up for a challenge, whatever it may be. You know, it could be anything. You know, it could be, you name it. If I think I'm good at it and I think I can do it, I'll do it.
These two friends have recently been taken to the bowling alley, and before the Durrrr challenge, the players went to Bloomsbury Lanes to blow off some steam. With these two and Roland the Wolfe in tow, prop betting was guaranteed.
We're here about to bowl some serious high stakes. We've got high stakes poker, this is high stakes bowling, whereby I hope to kick his ass properly, right? And that's it, so let's see how it goes.
Every strike is worth 8K basically, and then we have a 10K bet on the game, and a 20K bonus if you get a 200. But I can't find a 16-pound ball, so this is a huge problem, so I'm gonna go search for it.
That's the excuse, it's so crap really. Money, money, money.
We bowl all the time. We bowl in Vegas, we bowl everywhere we go. It's like, you know, what we do with all of our friends.
We're even now.
Yeah.
But let me smack these down. Give me a minute.
Roland's about to lose. He bet $6,700 on Sammy versus me.
Yeah! I just have to put one pad down to win. Thank you. Thank you very much. Lovely. I win like 20K and I end up losing $500,000.
Sammy may have won the bowling game, but as he predicted, he is now severely short-stacked. Join us after the break when we find out if Durrrr wins this first heads-up match. Sammy trying to get even or better here in the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge. Durrrr trying to extend his lead. And Isaac, I think Sammy's perked up a little bit.
It does look that way.
Oops. I had a good other card with
Few
it.
times he folded pre-flop to the re-raise.
Yeah,
Well,
not
8-9
so
of
much. 9-6 off is a pretty bad hand to play
Worse than
against
one,
the
better
re-raise,
than the
though.
other.
It's hard to flop anything you can be very confident with.
What story do these stats tell now?
Tom is continuing to win more than his share of the hands, 58%. That adds up quickly.
And Sammy's 3-bet percentage, at one point it was 5%, down to 3%. As the hands add up, it does feel like maybe that shows he's been a little more passive from the big blind.
Yeah, 3% is really not much. You take ace-king, that's 1.6% of your hands. You add in aces, kings, queens, now you're up over 3%. So if he's 3-betting his best hands, he's not 3-betting much of anything else. If I had to guess, he's probably not always 3-betting his biggest pairs. He is probably almost always 3-betting ace-king. But his 3-bets are very strong hands. And Tom is not folding.
Not far from his peak, Durrrr.
We have so many wows to come, bro.
I need a coffee.
He's
Yeah,
up
so-
about
me too.
400K, and
Yeah,
that's
two coffees,
about
please.
what he's been
I just
up at the
want mine
most.
black with sugar.
Yep.
I'm with you. I'm with him.
And they're calling out for coffees now. They've been at it quite a while. I mean, this has been all day and most of the night so far.
Yeah, and you can see the bags forming under
I'm gonna
Tom's
hold my cards
eyes.
like this for luck.
If it weren't for Sammy's sunglasses, you'd probably see the same at that end of the table.
And it's not exactly like Tom has been spending his off hours in bed. I think they're more like in bed with the laptop online.
Didn't help.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't actually need too much luck with those cards.
No?
when a guy like Tom Dwan plays online, he's usually playing 4, 6, maybe even 8 tables. Is that a more intense experience than playing live
We're
heads
getting
up?
back. We're fighting back.
I think so.
With
Heads up live specifically, that requires a lot of attention, gets to be closer.
That
But compared
hard
to
costs like
playing in a
70,000,
9-handed
yeah.
tournament, without a doubt, I get worn out more quickly playing online.
And we had the 9.
Personally rarely put in sessions longer than about 3 hours at a time online, and live I'll play tournaments where you play 8, 10, 12 hours in a day.
Raised to 11,000.
Speaking of 3-betting,
Yeah, almost as if just to prove me wrong, Sammy comes out and 3-bets ace-10 off here.
it's kind of unusual, isn't it? Because you sort of extrapolate to that actually he must be calling with some very big hands.
Yeah, you would think so. Either that or he's just
17,000.
been dealt an unbelievably weak assortment of hands out of the big blind in the 150 or so hands he's played from that position.
Massively card dead. And the funny thing is, the biggest hands we've seen Sammy have, the 2 kings, the ace king, those are the hands he's gotten creamed with.
Did you hear about Ivan misreading his hand?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe it.
2 million chip pot.
This is
Yeah, I
a
can't
very
believe
famous
it.
pot from
He had a
the
flush.
2009 World
I
Series
didn't
of
realize
Poker.
So sick. That's so sick.
And it was Phil Ivey. Well, there was only about 14 or 15
winning the main
players
event would have
left.
been
Yeah,
worth
it
like,
was really late in
you
the
know, I would
tournament.
guess 100 million or more to him.
Yeah.
So, and there were only 180 million chips total.
Raised 3,000
And if he had
total.
those 2 million chips, you know, like, so basically it was worth like $2 million to him, I think.
Yeah, easy.
Maybe more.
Easy.
The pot that he marked.
But I mean, I guess it's understandable. Well, not really. Not really. No, I can't defend
I
it.
feel bad. I kept bringing it up, like, accidentally, too. But I'd
What
obviously...
flush did he have? He had the.
Like 8 high
Like
flush.
just
Yeah,
now on
flush.
TV.
It just went check on the river, and the guy flipped a pair of aces, and
He just threw it
he
away.
marked his eights.
It actually shocked so many people in the poker world. I think not just because Ivey did it, but because they're thinking, well, if he did it, I must have also done it at some point in my career, and how much did it cost me? Did you think like that? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, I know I've misread my hand before. I have very memorable experience from relatively early in my poker career where I just capped every street because I thought I had a set of 8s. It turned out I had pocket 5s. Everybody does it from time to time.
Horrible feeling, isn't it?
Oh, God.
17,000. Pass.
Gut-wrenching.
And a little smile and wave from Sammy to the rail. He's very popular in this part of town, in this part of London, in this casino.
Raise.
Raised 3,000 total. We raised to 11,000.
Okay.
And
Four.
this re-raise feels ambitious, or?
Well, it's something Tom's been doing a decent amount of throughout the match, re-raising with these suited hands that will mostly miss, but when they
Why
hit
did they
to
do
make
that
a
for?
big hand,
In
to
the
make
middle
a
of that?
flush. So mainly he's just hoping to pick
is
it
that
up
your
with a
minimum re-raise?
continuation bet
Is
on
that
the
the flop
flop,
bet?
but he does have the backup plan of
Really?
making the sort of hand that can really win a big
Bet
pot.
out 17,000.
Sammy sort of goaded him into betting dark. Durr agreed, and now look at this.
Yeah.
I learned that one from Gus.
How much?
17,000.
You know how Phil Hellmuth check Stark? Gus always bet Stark.
What film, huh?
Phil Hellmuth check Stark? Gus
Yeah.
bet Stark.
Yeah, that's just awful, isn't it, really?
What?
Like, that thing.
Check.
Betting dark? I don't
Betting.
think so.
30,000.
Betting dark in a re-raise pot? That's not that bad.
Pass.
It's definitely better than checking dark after calling.
Yeah, but you have to know, like, I'd be such a fish.
What do you mean?
How can you bet dark? What did you must have like
After I
eights.
re-raise.
Yeah.
I must have had what?
You must have like, teach me. Teach me.
Teach me too.
I mean, if I re-raise, I'm betting most of the flops anyway.
Yeah. Do you have any more yellows over there?
I don't, buddy. Keep bragging.
No, I'm asking.
Keep bragging.
Do you have any more yellows?
No.
Just asking. Wanting to know where I am.
You know what? Have a green too.
It is
While
funny.
you're
There
at
are
it.
Thank you
a
very much.
lot of players who like to check dark or bet dark, and what do you think? Is it in your repertoire?
Not really. I mean,
It's your health, Tommy, and your family.
I almost
You too,
never
buddy.
do that.
To your
So you have
soon-to-be
done.
daughter.
I have done it. Sometimes, you know, you feel like it'll
Not a lot of people are
get a
allowed
player
to
to
come.
respond in a certain
to
way. If I
hospital
bet
C,
dark, he'll
but
be
you're allowed to.
more or less likely to fold.
Because I
or
consider you,
if I do it, maybe he'll do it in the future. and
although
get a
I feel
dynamic
weird
going
about
where
that.
we're both
Like-
playing kind of silly, and
Oh,
I think it favors me.
crazy.
But
Raise to 3,000 total.
we could play pontoon.
yeah, there's generally
hospital.
not a
No.
whole lot of reasons to
I
bet
would not
dark
do that.
or check dark
Three
or
raised to
do
11,000.
anything
would.
in the dark.
I wouldn't.
I would. I played pontoon there.
I
Well,
wouldn't.
that'd be sick. Wouldn't you? Why not? I'd play pontoon.
I'd be rooting for you to win if you played pontoon. I don't want to root against myself. I really would too.
One of the many things they
17,000.
gamble
On
on.
that day, I would.
Yeah.
Pass.
They're supposed to.
You'd be rooting for me to win. You're sick.
Well, that's supposed to be like the best day of your life, you know.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. 10, 20, 30, 40,
He's got a
50.
nice stack
that
of
means I
yellows
should
there,
have.
Sam.
He does.
250.
It's certainly, as you can see, when you add total everything
When I have all the
up,
yellows, I know the exact count because I know
enough
what
that if
break
they
go out.
play a big pot, it'll be a big one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sammy counted up 250 in yellows there, so he's bound to have.
Oh, 70. Snake.
Now, stack of 5K chips is a little taller
Raise
than
to
that.
3,000 total.
So there's another
Call.
almost 150. Yeah, Sammy's got significantly over 400.
Counted them about 5 times now. He's all of a sudden thinking to himself, hey, you know what? I'm not losing that much.
Yeah.
Oh, check.
Check. 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got to be careful not to get preoccupied with trying to get
Yeah.
even before this is
Yeah,
over.
really.
That's really not the
Really.
right way to be thinking about a cash game.
So hard not to, though.
Yeah. You know, there's no bonus for being up $1,000 at the end. It's not like there's online challenge where there's a side bet.
We've seen, you know, Durrrr winning about 60% of the pots. I wonder
Oh, when I
what
when I do
percentage
that
of
and
the
it
pots
gets
he's
someone
won
to,
that have been
like-
under 10,000.
in a spot where it's pretty
Dollars.
obvious they have nothing.
I think it'll be a lot significantly
You know
higher
what?
than
I
60.
call.
Yeah, I do too.
It's like, all right, if I'm bluffing, I'm gonna
Bluff
bet again, and
exactly,
if
man.
not, I got a good hand.
Crazy.
That happens in tourneys a lot that I do it.
Me and you need to sort out our tourney play.
Raise to
Straight up.
3,000 total.
We have to sort out our tourney play,
Raise
definitely.
to 11,000.
You got it.
Raise and re-raise.
Call.
Familiar.
Oh,
Yep.
And pretty strong holdings for both of them.
Yep.
Check. Check.
Where would you be between checking and betting those eights?
I would be checking them for sure. Not much that can happen when you bet is good for you. Either Sammy folds a hand that really didn't have many outs to begin with, or
Check.
you end up getting
thought you were gonna
floated
do
by
it.
lots of pairs and lots of draws.
the eyelash thingy.
He ends up taking the pot away from you on a later street.
Even if you're ahead.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
4,500.
And this, they call this a defensive bet, or is it
Or a blocking bet.
a blocking bet?
Pass.
He hasn't made many of them that we've seen Durrrr, but they seem to have been quite effective when he's used it.
Yeah.
Best
It's
ever
not
is if you get
something that's in
someone with that,
fashion very much
like
these
the
days, is
almost
it?
fold thing.
Yeah.
No, not so
Where
much.
they
Especially
think
not
that
in
you
middle
didn't
of the
notice.
Hold'em. It's more common in
You know,
Pot
or
Limit
like
Omaha.
that
from
it's
what
still
I've seen.
believable somehow, and they
Yeah,
like
yeah.
shove there, and you're like, all right.
Cool. Oh my God. You know,
It does happen to people because they just get like angry at you.
Of course.
You know they're folding.
They're like, you check it all the way, and then you make a bet.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I meant
What are you talking about?
the other time when I went like to move my cards
Oh,
away.
yeah. You know, there's a lot of, when I went to, when I was in Bellagio, because I was playing that 2040,
2550 probably.
25, yeah. Man, it was crazy.
Bless you.
Bless you. 3.
Raise to 3,000 total. Re-raise to 11,000.
Considered a pretty big game in Las Vegas, 25-50, but you know, to these guys
That's why you
now,
almost called it that yellow one, and then you were like, oh wait.
not even a sneeze.
Yeah, that's how you
Sick
can
tell.
tell.
Sick tell.
A big tell, huh? When I put those in.
Though I'd have to imagine with Sammy in the game, 25-50 plays a lot
Sick
bigger
tell.
than it's
So he's the bluff you.
Yeah, I've heard tell of it. You know, a lot of the casinos in Vegas these days, they
Go on my
don't
yellows.
have a maximum buy-in.
Right, it might be a 25-50
how did
game,
you
but
let
there
go of
might
that
be
one?
3 or 4
was the
people at
hand?
the
I don't
table
even
playing
remember.
$75,000 deep.
I'll give it to you
and
for 10,500.
Just
No,
opening
sorry,
to 1,000
11,000.
or whatever,
That's what I'm
playing
just
big
cheap.
pots.
Raise to 3,000 total.
Oh, you re-raised it. That's what it was.
Yeah. I re-raised with
What
those.
happened on the flop though?
What, on your
And
one?
this,
I
calling
think you
with
spun
the
me, you
eights.
spun me
Oh,
for something
gosh.
weird.
You must have known Tom was going to flop a set.
What one do we want?
5,000.
Now, fast play, slow play, because of the board texture.
I would
Raised
usually raise
to
his
18,000.
Durrrr here.
And
Sammy really can't fold. He's got the outs with the 6.
Oh, so it's
18,000 more. He's got the outs of the 6, and I mean, the 8s are ahead sometimes here. Are
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we saw a very similar situation where Sammy led out with a gut shot, and Tom raised him with just 2 overcards on a board like this. So, yeah, Sammy's hand is far too strong to be thinking about folding it on the flop. And probably even on the turn. I think he's all but obligated to call another bet here.
is check calling his best avenue right now?
I would say so, yeah.
Looks like Tom's going pretty deep here. There's a lot of draws out there, right?
There are. Especially with Tom holding 2 at the 7s, a whole lot of the hands Sammy might have continued with are going to be draws or pair plus draw type of hands.
34 to win 76 now for Sammy. And this one of the biggest pots we've seen of late. 110,000 there. I wonder if Sammy might try and... His hand is too strong to sort of make a bet on the river, right? A bluff, I mean...
Yeah, I would not bluff here if I were Sammy. Interestingly, that's a card where Sammy might be very tempted to call if he's thinking about things in a certain way, because he does hold 2 of the 8s. So when Tom bets again here, he's representing very frequently either 8-6 or 8-9. And Sammy has 2 of those 8s. So Tom will show up with a bluff more often than he would otherwise, since Sammy has blockers to some of his strongest hands.
I mean, if Sammy does check here, obviously we know Tom's going to bet, or we think Tom's going to bet.
Yeah,
but
Tom is
would
almost
he
certainly going to bet.
Would he be betting any one pair hands now?
92,000.
I think he could certainly bet an overpair, probably even a jack. I think he has an interesting decision if he somehow has a 10 here.
Sammy's
Pretty close to the same thing as a larger pair, except that he has to worry about perhaps Sammy having the jack of spades and some other spade.
Sammy in the tank for 92,000, and I wonder, does the big bluff come into play here? Is that in his head?
How could it not be?
Problem is, Tom looks exactly the same as he did when he was bluffing.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's tough to read. Maybe a little more tired than he did an hour or so ago. You really can't blame Sammy for calling here if he does. Most of the draws missed. Tom absolutely can show up with something like King 6 or any 2 spades or 3-2.
It's been a real cooler, this hand so far.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. And Sammy has a stronger hand than he usually will in this spot. More often he'll have something like 7-6 or 5-6.
He seems genuinely on the edge. Couldn't say which way it's going to go.
Yeah, I just don't think he's made up his mind yet. And he lays it down.
Whew, felt, under the circumstances, a very tough pass.
Yeah, I would say so.
Durrrr doesn't show. He wanted to get paid off.
He did.
Oh. My yellows.
And there's Sammy back down to about 400 behind. Sammy George takes another hit, and Durrrr wins a big pot, proving once again why he is a poker sensation. But throughout, he has remained composed and modest about his wins and his skill at the table.
In the short term, there's only a small relationship between winning and playing well. You could play very well for a day and lose. You could definitely play very well for an hour and lose, and that happens all the time. Rarely you can play well for a month and lose. Once you play enough hands, it's mainly gets down to skill. Obviously, it's all a math calculation, what the chances are you could lose while playing well and being a favorite. But the goal in poker is to not worry about your results while the hands are going on and always play the hands right. And it's hard to do. It's hard to ignore the fact that you just got unlucky 4 hands in a row and still play well. Or it's hard to ignore that you're running really well and winning every hand and still make a fold that you should, or not assume you're going to get there this hand. So a lot of times you'll have people tilt in various ways. I would always rather end up with the money. I don't care if I get lucky or play well to get there, but it's most likely that you end up with the money if you play well. If you just bank on getting lucky, a lot of times you'll leave with no money.
This match is nearing its end. Short stack Sammy George needs just a few double ups to get back in the game. Does he have the will to topple his powerful opponent? Join us after the break for more action.
It all goes in.
It's a lot of money.
This is driving me crazy.
Welcome back to the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge, where Sammy George is hanging in there.
Raise to 3,000 total.
Been holding himself together, Isaac.
He really has.
Cool.
And fortunately for him, most of the impressive things he's had to do tonight is make big passes.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom has really just had the best hand most of the time.
Cool.
Sort of a lead out, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tom actually limped here. I must be mistaken.
I mean, there was certainly 6,000 in there on the flop. I think that Tom raised, Sammy called, and then led.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And Sammy hits his flush.
It's like the
About
first
time Sammy has the best hand on the river.
Yeah. And he's going to be able to make a bet here where Tom is going to have a very tough time passing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. Tom's kicker plays.
Can we have a new river card? By chance?
Wow. This probably toughest river decision Durrrr has faced.
Yeah, quite possibly. There was that 8-5 hand much earlier in the match. The one where Sammy had 8-5 for a straight draw and ended up bluffing Tom off of bottom pair on the river. But one of Tom's very toughest river decisions for sure. He made the right one.
It certainly did. He ain't giving money away when Sammy makes the hands. That's been a big part of this, hasn't it?
It really has. Tom has made a lot of very good folds. He's made a couple of incorrect folds, but it doesn't feel like Sammy is bluffing him as often as he should be.
Don't know who I heard say, maybe it's Doyle Brunson, that sometimes you have to dog the best hand. Do you think like that sometimes? Where you've got to make, overall, you have to sometimes fold a winner? You know, balance things out.
Yeah, I mean...
Not that you want to, but...
You never think, I know I have the best hand here, but I'm going to fold it anyhow. But... Yeah, you're calling too much if your opponent is never successfully bluffing you. I mean, unless your opponent is just a maniac who's always bluffing.
Now, this pot has gotten rather large.
Indeed it has. Durrrr re-raised before the flop and continued on the flop. And both players have big hands here. Sammy's picked up a flush draw to go with his bottom pair.
And obviously, Sammy is probably not calling here unless he picks up the flush draw on the river. Is Durrrr starting to worry about the value of his hand?
I don't know. It will depend on what the river card is. On a card 8 or lower, I think Tom has a pretty clear value bet.
Feels like this could be Jack-Queen some of the times, right?
Sure, and a lot of pairs of 10s are possibilities for Sammy. If I'm Durrrr, I'm pretty confidently value betting. Don't think he's going to be good anywhere near every time he's called, but well over the requisite 50%, probably up to 70 or so.
132,000 in the pot. And how often can Sammy show up here with King-Queen? Or is that
It's
just being
certainly a
scared of
possibility.
at that point you're getting scared of shadows?
It's certainly a possibility, but that alone isn't enough to discourage Tom from value betting. You don't have to always win when you value bet and get called for it to be a good bet.
59,000.
Less than half pot. I wonder if he thinks that for this price, Sammy won't think about it too hard and will just throw in the call. Didn't work out.
Which one, left or right?
Left.
Had the queen jack. I'm just feeling friendly since I'm running so good.
Running very good.
It's true.
Running very good.
Yeah, Sammy did have a lot of outs there. You wouldn't have begrudged him a little old river card, would you?
No, I think he's earned it at this point.
And you can see the preponderance of chips Durrrr has to stack. I believe he is very close to his high water mark.
Yeah, I think so.
Sammy down about 450 right now. 300K exactly in front of him.
Cool.
And this a more aggressive play from Sammy than we've seen.
Yeah, he's 3-betting more. He 3-bet that ace-10 off. He's 3-betting pocket 4s. I wonder if he's getting impatient, if he wants to try and get even before they're done for the night.
I think usually Durrrr has been sort of calling with this sort of hand.
Yeah, Tom is clearly not folding with a flush draw here. It's a spot where he might raise. They are 300 big blinds deep. If he raises, if he makes it, you know, 50,000 or so, it is still deep enough that it's very hard for Sammy to just jam over that raise. So Tom doesn't have to worry too much about being blown off his draw if he is to raise here. All that being said, calling, I think, is the more typical option to choose.
It's black, but not the spade.
Sammy does very relevantly pick up a gut shot here.
38,000.
I mean, that's a heck of a second bullet, or third bullet now. Is it a... What sort of bet is it?
I have to think it's mainly a bluff. Perhaps a bluff designed mainly to fold hands that are currently behind it but have a lot of outs. He wants to just blow Tom off of a hand very much like the one he currently has, some naked flush draw.
Cool.
But I think for it to be a very good bluff, he has to be planning on firing again on a lot of rippers here.
Let's try and take Durrrr off sixes, or perhaps the... Oh, gosh.
That is one of those cards that Sammy might fire again as a bluff, and that's not going to work out so well for him here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Sammy, you could be thinking to yourself, hey, Tom very likely could have had a 10 here, and this card has been my chance to get him off the pot.
Yeah, absolutely, and that wouldn't be a bad way of thinking about the situation. If Tom does have a 10 or a 6, that was a tough card for him.
Well, what it is, I think, overville.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt.
Most likely he's going to raise here, and Sammy's going to fold.
Come on. All in.
Yeah, that's what he's done at Insta-full. Of course, you can't call there. And disappointing. No. Sammy pretty much knows that that card hit him.
Yeah. Even if Tom thought he was bluffing, it was probably with a hand better than a pair of fours.
Big pot there, 831,000. Durrr's got. He only started with 250. Sammy not feeling good. Sammy NE2 has cashed in tournaments including the WPT and the Poker Million, and has played in some of the biggest cash games worldwide. He knows what it feels like to win and to lose.
There's no better feeling, to be honest with you, than walking in with 150,000 and walking out with $500,000. You know, and doing that a few times just puts you on cloud 9. I've lost a bit, you know, and it's not a nice feeling. No one should play this game if they can't either afford to win or lose. You know, you shouldn't be playing if you're under pressure. That's one thing I tell a lot of guys who come and talk to me, who ask me for advice, believe it or not. But you know, you can always up your game, and when you lose, and that's one thing about losing, it changes your game. You know, it makes you play better because you don't want to feel that feeling again. You know, it's like the only way I can put it, it's like a little kid putting his hand on the fire. He'll do it once. He'll know not to do it again because he doesn't want to feel that pain. So when you put your money in the middle, and there's money in the middle, I know I'm beat, I'm laying that down because I don't want to feel that pain. I want to feel that angst of losing.
I remember flush.
And Sammy now sort of entering a territory where he's kind of short-stacked.
Well, relative to how it's been up to this point, he's still got 170 big blinds or something like that, which is deeper than heads-up games normally play online, for instance.
That's not what he's feeling like, though, is it?
No, I'm sure he's feeling like he's down to the very last of it.
Thinking, he's looking at his chips right now, thinking, am I going to buy in again? Do I go deeper? And if that's distracting him from the game, it's going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
There's no fun.
Not feeling good at the moment.
No. I think with most gamblers, for most poker players, you remember the times when you've had a session where you lose a lot than you do when you win a lot, in fact. Do you have that? I mean,
I definitely think so, yeah. For almost all poker players, losing is worse than winning is good. The couple people who that's not true for are usually broke.
It burns into your brain, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not joking.
No.
Nobody is just the same whether they win or lose. Some people take losing harder. Some people get more excited about winning. The ones who get more excited about winning, they go broke. If losing doesn't hurt, you don't hold on to your money as a poker player.
I think that's very well said. Well, on the outside, On the outside, show nothing.
Of course.
And you can see the table chatter sort of sound slowed down. Sammy, I think, very pensive right now.
Tom almost a little uncomfortable. It doesn't know what to say at this point.
You want a break for a sec?
Nope.
Did Tom just ask me if he wanted to take a break?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thing. It's I think it's part of the etiquette of the game, isn't it? You know, and there is this sort of etiquette in poker, isn't it? A winner, it's not up to the guy who's winning to decide how the game goes from here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon.
Obviously, no one would accuse Tom.
Did you have a hand there?
I'm not gonna bet like. What did you have? You didn't have a pair. Yeah, you didn't have a pair.
Referring back to that flush.
You made on the river.
And yeah, it did hurt because it was quite a nice bet by Sam. Probably one of the better bets he's made.
I think so. I think that he should have been doing more stuff like that over the course of this match.
I knew when you've got one in, you've got it. You have the,
just unlucky timing there to run into the flush.
The goods.
Check, check.
Good fold. You made a few of those today. Said you've made a few good folds today.
Yeah. I don't know.
Check.
Finally looking like he's
there was a king's hand.
happy to check this down.
It's just crazy, man.
Check, check.
It's like, what do you call it?
It is what you're saying, the unwritten rules sort of in poker.
I've got a chance to at least try and win back.
It's you don't usually quit when you're winning. Obviously you can, and sometimes you have to.
Right. But yeah, if the guy who's down wants to keep playing, it is sort of unwritten etiquette that the winner is supposed to oblige him within reason. And if you've been playing for 16 hours and you're starting to fall asleep at the table or at the computer, then obviously at some point you can say, no, I've had enough. But,
7 dudes.
Yeah.
And being a guy, they call him a hit-and-run merchant, don't they? It's online, it happens live. It's not something people like to be labeled with, and yet sometimes those guys end up being big winners.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an accusation that people make of Phil Ivey online a bunch, that he'll play such short sessions, but it works for him. And
5,000 plus.
And at the end of the day,
people come to expect it and get less offended by it because they know it's coming. But
it's a funny part of the game, though, because it's certainly not against the rules, and at the end of the day, everyone is there to win money.
Yeah, but it makes people not want to play with you as much if you don't follow those unwritten rules.
And I think as far as this Durrrr challenge goes, a lot of it is going to depend on how Durrrr handles situations like this. Obviously, there's going to be times when he's down, there's going to be times when he's up. It's part of it.
Yeah.
Check. Check.
And like this feels like the kind of situation where
5,000.
you know, top pair against second pair, Sammy should be winning some money here, right?
I think so, yeah. He got the one bet in on the turn. I would think he's going to put another one in on the river.
Oh, God.
Most possible cards.
Oh, my gosh.
This is just...
That's brutal. That's a brutal river.
And now Tom's going to raise, and Sammy's going to fold and torture himself over it again.
Tom must actually be kind of hating that card. I mean, I don't know, he's not, but it looks like he almost feels bad to raise.
Yeah. Wonder if Sammy's just going to get frustrated and pay this off.
Sorry, Tom.
Well,
58.50.
I mean, the queen doesn't really make many hands, does it?
No, it really doesn't. It makes more hands for Sammy than it does for Tom, which is why this raise shows so much strength. But no, Sammy folded quickly.
Certainly did.
I think that's showing some good situational awareness by Sammy to realize that it's the sort of time when Tom would be very unlikely to make a big bluff.
I mean, I can't imagine ever folding that there with what Sammy's been through in Sammy's spot. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Take this
a lot
with
of respect
you.
from me here.
Really?
Some of these folds he's made.
Amazing.
I mean, you put me in Sammy's seat and deal Durrrr and me the same cards all day, I think I lose more money.
One stack. No, I'm looking to push very soon.
So we've just watched, and it's just going up and up. Up 613,000, which means Sammy must...
I win at least
have just over 100 left.
That's generally the hope when throwing all the chips in there.
Yep.
Well, my hope's always they fold, but if they call, I hope I win.
You said it's definitely a playable stack. I mean, 100K, 100 big blinds, but there seems to be this sort of, with all those chips in front of Tom, that Sammy's kind of deciding, look, I'm going to play these out and then I'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We raised to 11,000 plus.
And perhaps it's a good thing because he's playing a little more aggressive, which that's what he needs to be doing anyway.
I think so. But I think Tom made his first fold to a 3-bet the entire match,
like it if you
or at
paid
least the
off
first
loss?
one we've seen.
Jeez, you're
Would you like it if you paid off
he had
loss?
called 6-3 off earlier, but he let go of the monster.
No, not really.
He's 10-5 off just now.
I mean, why would anyone like being paid off less?
Well, then you can bluff more.
Pretty relevantly, when he called 6-3 off, they were
Raised
over
to
400 big
3,000.
points deep, and now they're
Raised to
just barely over
11,000.
100.
And that is a huge
Pass.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lot of money in front of Durrrr, Isaac, 800,000+.
He's got to be seeing Sammy stack and hoping he can just take the last of it sometime soon.
Sammy's stack is still taking a battering. Join us after the break when this heads-up clash reaches its climax. It's not over yet for Sammy and E2. Welcome back to the Les Ambassadeurs, one of London's most exclusive and distinguished casinos, for the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge. Poker star Tom Dwan has a formidable reputation, winning millions of dollars worldwide. He issued this challenge: bring $500,000 to the table and play heads-up poker. Londoner Sammy and E2 George accepted, and the two friends have been battling it out for over 400 minutes. But all is fair in London.
I'll be joined for analysis throughout this match by the brains and the heart of British poker, Roland de Wolfe and Neil Channing. Now, Sammy and Tom have kind of struck up a friendship. I mean, you've been hanging out with both of them in London.
Yeah, they're both friends of mine, and I enjoyed both their company, and we've been all going out and just general dinners and having fun. They're great guys to hang out with, to gamble with, and they get on very well. So we're all friends. We speak a lot.
It kind of felt like Sammy was taking it on himself during the WSOP to show Tom around.
Yeah, I actually found it quite amusing. To be honest, I was really surprised, Roland, that you three, you seem like a sort of fairly... I mean, you and Sammy is a kind of... You're both sick gamblers, obviously, and you love poker and you love hanging around together. But then I didn't know that much about Tom. I hadn't met him that many times before the WSOPE. And yeah, the three of you. But there's a real close bond between the three of you, isn't there? I've seen you going off bowling together and having a laugh. And there's plenty of side betting and action going on.
I think Tom's a very shrewd operator, maybe, and knows when he's around two fish. But no, really, we all have a good time. And Tom's a really nice chap. You know, he's handles himself well. He has gamble in him, and he's sociable. So all of those things, we all get on great. And you know, they're having a great time out there.
And it's going to be reciprocated, right? Sammy goes to Vegas, then he's going to be Tom's guest.
Oh, absolutely. And I think in the game it's interesting because, you know, like possibly sometimes if he's playing heads up with people, There's not going to be all this like showing of cards. There may be a feeling that, well, if I bluff him, I better not really show because he's my mate and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting dynamic to the whole game.
But it is business on the table.
With Isaac Haxton here, and Isaac, the dynamic right now, easy to see by looking at the chips. Tom has got a cannon in front of him.
Yeah, Sammy really must feel like he's on the ropes here, even though
3,000 total.
if you think about it outside the context
We
of
raised to 11,000.
this match, the 100,000 or so he's got in front of him is plenty of chips to play 500 to 1K with.
This is the kind of thing that could have you feeling a little better about things if you're Sammy.
Yeah.
Looking down, finding the Cowboys, and getting a 3-bet in. Ooh.
Tom's got a pair and a flush draw here. Neither one's all that good on its own, but it's hard to see him getting it away from it.
All in. Now, he's bet 122 into 22.
Yeah, I mean, he must just be saying to himself, I'm not going to take another bad beat here. Like,
Pass.
that seems like frustration.
Do you have the berries?
Uh-huh.
You do?
No.
Because, really,
You have something that was bare?
a chance to get drawn out on, yes, but also a chance to make money that you
got a
can't
pair and a club
ignore.
and you folded.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a very
He
bad
should be
pair and a
hoping
very
to get
bad
action
club.
there, especially from the sorts of hands that would give him action if he bet smaller, but not on that shove.
And unfortunately, that's sort of what makes poker very tough emotionally. You don't want to get bad beat, but you always want to be in situations where you can get bad beat because it means you're ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Sammy really starting to pump this. The 3-bet again, 10-jack suited. He is getting more aggressive.
Absolutely. And he's got the straight draw. Wonder if he'll just jam it again. Nope, he's checked.
Check. Check.
Well, now Tom might start thinking he's winning here.
Yeah, quite likely,
Check.
though. Especially with the flush redraw, though. I don't think there's a whole lot of reason for him to bet. He makes his flush on the end here. Probably pay off a bet if Sammy bets. He might
Check.
bet for value if check too. Yeah, I suppose he probably will bet for value here.
10,000.
Sorry, because of the flush, the flush redraw, it didn't make sense for him to bet because he can only.
Because a hand like King Jack or Jack 10 has a lot fewer outs against him when if he hits the King of Diamonds or the 10 of Diamonds or whatever, Tom actually wins. So having the flush redraw takes away a lot of the outs that an overcard and straight out type of hand would have.
Well, it's looking like he's almost embarrassed right now, Tom. He's winning these pots upside down, sideways, left, right, flop, river.
Yep.
Cool.
As
It
they
weirds me
say.
more when I look at my cards.
It's one thing to be good, another thing to be lucky, but both is a very tough combination.
Indeed.
And
5,000.
Yeah, Tom's the sort of player who, when he makes a lot of big hands, he's going to make a lot of money because he has the reputation for,
Cool.
which he has well earned. If you think back to that 7-2 hand, for instance, he has the reputation for being very willing to put the money in, whether he's got it or not.
And right now, this is an embarrassment of riches. The full house, kind of.
Check.
Such a good hand, you have to check the turn there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got every card in the deck. Just gotta hope Sammy either has sixes full or decides to make some sort of bluff. And he has gotten that bluff he was going for. So he's
Raise.
gonna make a little raise.
23,000.
Yep.
Show me at least blind. Come on, go blind. Show me.
Pick one.
Right.
Right? I think that's the right one. That's the right one.
That's when you know you're running good. When you're blind and you hit 3 kings.
He's right about that.
Yeah.
He's right about that.
115.
When you think back over this match, I
It's
mean,
all gone downhill from here, man.
you've played with Tom Dwan, now having a chance to watch him. I mean, what has been the key to his game tonight.
We're good, we're
Making
good.
the nuts has helped. But other than that, he seems like he's had a very good awareness of how Sammy's going to play. He has picked good spots to
Raise
bluff.
3,000
All in.
total. Re-raise to 11, re-raise all in.
4-bet from Sammy. And it's a big one.
But I don't think I'm winning.
I don't think I'm winning either.
Jammed it for one
You were
point.
winning.
But you know, I just had enough.
I think you were winning.
Yeah, Sammy is.
I would
He's
bet
looking
you
to
were winning.
gamble right now.
I would
Yeah,
bet you were
And
winning.
Tom is not.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
Oh, oops.
Raise to 3,000 total. Cool.
I just kind of feel like Sammy should. Oh gosh, I just want to see him in a card. And this, he's in a
5,000.
pair. I kind of feel like the money might go in.
Cool.
Some of it, anyhow. And what comes off. It's going to be hard for Sammy to get stacked now.
Check. 13,000.
Unless he decides to make some sort of kamikaze bluff here. But even if he does,
Pass.
Tom will probably fold.
Easy, huh?
As Tom was saying before, it sure is easy when you're getting every card. Wow. Basically, the biggest lead he's had tonight.
Yep.
And because Sammy isn't seeing every hand like we are, he must just feel like a pinball machine. Have you been in spots like this?
Absolutely. It happens to
Raise
everybody.
3,000 total. Re-raise to
Play a match
11,000.
like this and you just think, man, he just keeps betting every time. Every time I call him, he has it. He can't be hitting it this often. I must be getting bluffed. I must just be guessing as badly as possible.
And then when your rhythm goes off like that,
Yeah.
how do you find it again?
It's rough. It can be really difficult to get your head straight after
Pass.
something like that.
2,000 change given. Thank you.
He's looking pained. No wonder.
Raise to 3,000 total.
The poker table can be such a social place, such a
Re-raise
friendly
to
place,
11,000.
and it can also be the loneliest
Pass.
place in the world.
Yep.
And to be here, for Sammy to be here on camera, is tough. It is tough.
Yep.
I think when he does sort of watch this back and see all the hands, he's going to say, hey, you know what? My God, I made I really played well.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a little relieved to see this on TV.
Raise to 3,000 total. Cool.
There's a pair.
Check.
Yeah, and Tom even flopped a worse pair.
5,000.
He'll probably find a way to win by the river, though.
Cool.
Checking and calling, but so many cards. Durrrr is going to be done with this pot on the turn.
I would think so. That, not necessarily one of
Check,
them.
check.
I don't know if Sammy has checked this for pot control, but it's going to look
10,000.
going to make him max value here, right?
I think so.
What are those hearts?
even there, Tom sort of found a way not to lose the maximum.
Sort of.
The way today's going, I should have gotten like a 2, 5, 6 of hearts flop. How I'm running verse here.
Oh, it all goes in.
Oops.
Well, they set out to play 500 hands, and they've played, well, over 400 anyway. A really
3.
Raise to 3,000 total.
really big bunch of them. It has been a slog.
Yeah, that is a long day of live poker.
Because typically, you know, when you play a multi-table tournament, you might not even play 200 hands in a 10-hour day or so.
Yeah. Yeah, you very well might not.
5,000. Pass.
Generally about 20 to 25 hands an hour is the standard for a 9-handed tournament.
Sort of the reason why all these internet players keep saying they hate live poker. It's boring, they say.
Yeah, I mean, compared to 12 tabling the Sundays online or whatever their metric of comparison is, you're playing really tiny fraction of number of hands you're used to.
Raise from Durrrr, call from Sammy, 6K in the middle.
Sammy has flopped a pair, but Durrrr has 2 overs and a pretty solid flush draw. And there comes one of those overs.
God. It's like he's calling for the card. It just slides in there.
Yeah, how does he fail to bet it on the flop? He's guaranteed to get there on the turn.
Although to be fair, like we can see,
makes another pretty big, pretty impressive fold.
Part of the reason it all happens is because there have been cases where Sammy hasn't put pressure on Tom. Not that you have to all the time, but that's what happens sometimes when you don't.
Well, Tom had a strong enough hand there that even if Sammy does lead out for a full pot on the flop, Tom's not going anywhere.
Right.
Pass.
Another ace. You can kind of feel the tension in the room.
Yeah.
Guys kind of looking everywhere but at each other.
Yeah, a weird sort of mood has set in.
I know, you know, no matter what happens here, we're both going to have a night to sleep, and Sammy's they're going to be best of friends in the morning. They're not best of friends now, but you know, it's feeling very. It's feeling very much like Durrrr can't miss a flop. My God!
Yeah.
Look at this. It's brutal.
13,000. Cool.
I mean, this is about the point where if you're on the internet, someone will be typing furiously in the chat box, it's rigged.
Yeah.
Check. Check.
48K in here. Sammy's got outs. Come on.
Got there.
And
9.
Right, not a river card you want to bet if you're Sammy.
No, I don't think so. It seems pretty hard for him to get called by worse there.
Small cookies, but every step a step back.
We both weren't comfortable with that last card.
That's true.
This has been an exciting heads-up clash, and there are only a few hands to go. Sammy NE2 has lost over $500,000. Can he win it back before the night is over? Find out after the break. Welcome back. Durrrr versus Sammy in the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge. Right now, mostly Durrrr. Isaac.
Yeah, it's been a rough day for Sammy.
And as a poker player, what do you do on those rough days? You just go to bed, or?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe have a drink or four and try and get it out of your head.
Tomorrow's always another day. You just got to make it till tomorrow, don't you?
Absolutely.
Still have something left. And Sammy right now, he knew.
I'm getting cramp on this.
He knew coming in here, you know, this was going to be a possibility. I mean, and at the end of the day, this is a very, you know, over 500 hands, there's going to be swings like this. Someone is going to get down this much.
This is getting into the territory of being down a lot for 500 hands, but he had to know going in that this was a possibility.
What are your sort of, what do you tell yourself? When do you quit? When is it time to quit?
For me, it's really more about
3,000 total.
how do I feel I'm playing as opposed to how much am I down. I've kept playing after losing 15 buy-ins before, and I've quit up because I thought I was getting distracted.
You have to sort of detach yourself emotionally. Oh, look at this 2-pair here.
5,000. Pass.
Yeah, and Sammy flopped a pretty big hand there to put no money in.
He's managing to get away from some incredible spots.
Yeah.
Looking at the stats, anything change?
Man, no. All the numbers other than the chip stack seem to be holding pretty steady.
3,000.
Let's do 3,000 back.
Opening dark.
She said
I'll
not
let you
as,
see a flop.
not as loose a play as it seems.
I should have raised that blind. Thanks, buddy. Should I raise that?
I mean, even when he looks, he's playing 85% of his hands or so.
King high.
Check. 5,000.
Oh, shit.
Cool.
And Sammy may have a piece of this. Hello.
More than a little. Tom picks up a flush draw. That seems like a card he's very likely to fire again on.
13,000.
This.
He quickly does.
Now, for many reasons, besides the ones we can see, would that have been a good spot for him to raise?
I think that giving Tom the opportunity to fire a third barrel as a bluff here is pretty good. And if he does raise, he'll get it in against some worse hands. He'll get it in against some pair and a club hands, some 2-pair hands. But I really don't think he's in awesome shape against the range that puts the stack in on the turn if he does raise once the third club gets there.
So actually a pretty gutsy check call on the turn, but this a very, very unlucky turn of events.
Yeah, Tom has run the flush
27,000.
and is making quite a thin value bet here, actually. I think that he will not be best all that large a percentage at the time that he's called, though this time he looks like a genius.
You can just get there.
Yeah, I mean, in the scheme of things, that was a real
threes,
killer.
Yeah, he's going to run
threes.
into the ace of clubs and the king of clubs an awful lot there. Maybe he got some sort of physical read off of Sammy.
How'd you get there? Oh.
But yeah, that's brutal.
Sets of
Sammy
threes,
flops bottom
and he wins
set.
a jack deuce with a jack of clubs in the end. Club, 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 club.
Runner's the flush.
It is, because as you said, I mean, the way Sammy played it, if Tom misses the river there, he has to bluff, and Sammy gets a nice big pot there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I would expect so. I mean, sometimes maybe Tom decides to give up on the end and check back and lose. But that's really not his style. Once he's made 2 bets and he gets to the river with no showdown value, he bluffs a lot of the time. Sammy's flopped another good hand here.
Check.
And he has checked behind with his trips, it looks like.
Check. 5,000.
Little old 8 of hearts for Durrrr, and I guess some showdown value in the ace in his mind.
Certainly, yeah. With Sammy checking back to flop, I mean...
Oh, God!
Wow.
This is not fair!
Wow.
10,000.
Why doesn't fate like you anymore, Sammy? And this bet, I mean, partially, you're thinking a little frustrated right now because it's hard to get called by a hand you beat.
Yeah. And Sammy seemed unhappy about it as soon as he was called.
It's me crazy.
He couldn't possibly have been bluffing.
How are you getting there, dude?
Yeah. I think part of the reason he bet that is because he just can't believe you can lose that hand, isn't it? You know
Maybe
that.
so, yeah.
You're running so good, bro. You're running so good.
That's what I know. It's been pretty sick.
Do you know what I mean? What can I do? There's nothing I can do. 3 6s and the 8. Oh my God. All in.
Raise 3,000, re-raise, all in.
How much?
Okay, I'm gonna take 3 first. 2 back, 6 in the...
So,
he's just jammed for 97-ish, 96.5 over Tom's open to 3,000.
500 more.
Tom is thinking pretty seriously about calling him with 4s here.
now why wouldn't
do
you?
that?
No.
The reason you would is if you thought that Sammy was going to show up with pocket 2s or pocket 3s a lot of the time. And the reason you wouldn't is that most of the time he's going to show up with either a bigger pair or 2 overcards.
You should have called, man.
So
you would have probably hit like a set of 4s on the flop.
Any reasonable range you can give
No, I had no pair. I had an ace. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,
50,
60, 70, 80.
Of course, things
95,
going so well for Durrrr
100.
playing sort of the small pots anyway. That
yeah.
This is sort of the meta game that doesn't even let Sammy back in.
Right.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Check. 5,000.
Oh. No real surprise here. Top pair against bottom pair.
All in.
I call.
What'd you have?
Call.
And that frustrated, you know, you know, we've just seen it happen. A man can only take so much.
No, I need to suck up. Come on.
Everybody's got their line in the sand.
And
club?
This was pretty clearly Sammy's.
Big pot.
Yeah?
It's a big raise.
Oh yeah, he just jammed 96 over 5. There's not much justifying that play. I mean, Sammy's just frustrated.
No, it's not good to hit. It's your day.
That frustration, there's plenty justifying that, but the play itself, it's pretty ugly.
Well done, buddy. Don't look so upset.
I'm not upset.
You got a million in front of you.
There's not many people that I play poker against that I actually like, and you're one of them. And
did you hear that?
And I don't feel okay playing you when I think you're really tilty.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair enough. But why are you all like rolling your eyes and stuff?
I'm happy, obviously. I ran good. I mean, I got really, really lucky. And, I don't know. I said I got really lucky, so.
And this is the end result.
Tom up 750,000 today. A very impressive showing by Durrrr, and up until those last few moments of frustration, a very impressive showing by Sammy as well.
A fun match. I mean, does this Durrrr challenge have legs?
I think it does, Jesse. I think that there's a real enjoyment of playing one-to-one, and the competitors see that, and that transmits to everyone watching it. And I think that as you see more and more heads-up matches, you understand the intricacies and what a high level these guys are playing at, and more people want to come forward and play. And if they're half as fun as Sammy, then we'll all enjoy watching them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Durrrr wants to go on and play plenty of people. He likes to challenge himself against everyone, and you know, if they can find as many sick punters as these two, we could be watching the Durrrr challenge every week for the next 5 years.
Yeah, because win or lose, it's really high quality poker.
It is, and you know, who's not going to want to come forward and, if they can afford it, play Tom, because he's a great challenge, and poker players like to challenge themselves. So you could see Tom playing, you know, Phil Ivey or Gus Haxton or Big Trevor Reardon even. You know, there's so many people who could come forward. It's just great possibilities, and if they are, you know, half as entertaining to watch as Sammy, we will have a real great time.
How can you not like that?
The game was in his favour. He was hitting a lot of cards, you know, and he was rivering a lot of cards as well. But look, I respect Tom Dwan. I will always respect Tom Dwan, and I'm going to play him again. In fact, we're going to play in the very, very near future. We're going to play here. We're going to play there. You know, he's one of the best in the world, in my opinion, and I respect him with all my life, and I respect with all my heart. And I think he's one of the best, at least within the top 5 or 3, in my opinion.
Basically, the story of tonight was just Sammy catching cards early when I had nothing and easy folds, and me catching cards late when he had second best hands. And in just about every case, there wasn't much he could do. And then right at the end, he was justifiably pretty tilted and made a not too justifiable play, but you can't really blame him when he still had a bunch of outs. And didn't get there, and that was today.
We've done $750,000 and about 400 sterling, but you know, I'm good. It's not over, you know. I mean, we had a deal that if I'd win or I'd lose, you know, we'd give each other a chance to get it back. So you know, we're good. We're good. I mean, he's back there, and we're gonna definitely do that again, 100%.
I won $750,000 today, so that's a pretty good win. I'm pretty happy with it, and it was a fun game, especially made so by the fact that I caught so many cards.
Alexander the Great had conquered half of the known world at the age of 24. Tom Dwan is but 23. He will take on all comers as long as the cards will be falling and the chips in the pot pyramid. Join us the next time the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge continues.
Next time on the Full Tilt Poker Durrrr $1 Million Challenge, the second opponent takes his seat. It's Italian high-stakes player Marcello. Tom Dwan has once again proved he is one of the greats, but can he remain victorious against his next challenger?
You're such a weirdo.
Thank you.
I don't know why I thought wine with dinner was a good idea.
It's a little bit strange.
I'm so confused.
It's impossible.
Just don't win.
Now I can recognize you.
It's gonna be a long day of poker.